Hey y'all, in this video, I'm going to be sharing some changes that we're making to our homeschool. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaela. I am a second generation homeschool mom, which means I'm a homeschool graduate turned homeschool mom. I'm currently homeschooling my fourth grader and first grader. We are in our 6th year of homeschooling, and I love to chat all things homeschool on this channel, as well as just mama life, what's going on with us. So if any of that interests you, I hope that you'll consider sticking around. We are going to significantly be changing our schedule for this homeschool year, the remainder of the 2023-2024 homeschool year, and also for all foreseeable years. If you're new to homeschooling and you have questions about scheduling out your school year, how to do that, where to even get started, is it really necessary? I made a whole video talking you through the various options that are available to you for scheduling out your year. I will go ahead and put that in the cards and also in the description box so that you can find out more. For our family, I have really been committed to the yearly schedule of 6 weeks of lessons and then a break. And so for 36 total weeks of school, give or take, usually we end up doing more than 36 weeks for the year, but give or take, you would repeat that cycle of 6 weeks on and then a break 6 times. And I did make a very detailed plan for this school year as far as when we were going to take our breaks. I wrote it all out. I find it extremely helpful to have that big picture overview for the year and to know when we're going to be taking breaks. Even if I end up changing things, moving things around, tweaking things, it's just incredibly helpful to have that map for our year. I write the map in pencil usually because I expect that there will be some changes. There will be things that come up. Life happens. And so write in pencil. That schedule of 6 weeks on and then a break has worked really well for us. It always seems like we start to sort of putter out / burn out around that 5-6 week mark. And so it's really nice to just automatically know that the breathing room is coming, the rest is coming. Another thing that I really like about that schedule is that I have the flexibility to sort of carry it through almost 2 year-round homeschooling. And I really scheduled breaks where I knew they were going to be the most valuable for us as a family, since we don't celebrate or participate in a lot of mainstream national holidays. We don't typically need time off at the same time that other families do. But all of that is changing. And because we are in the middle of our homeschool year, I'm just kind of having to roll with it and tweak things as I go. So 2 big life changes happened that have led to this year schedule change. The first is my husband now works for the public school district here locally. So basically, he is on the public school schedule. Anytime the kids are out of school, he is home with us, with one small exception. He does work through the summer, except for 1 week off. Since we typically need at least May and June to sort of round out our year and finish up some things. So I'm actually really glad that that's working out. He will be working for all of May and June, and then he has 1 week off in July. So the summer stays mostly the same for us. I'm sure a lot of you will relate to this. When dad is home, it's really challenging to stay in our routine. We all feel like we're in vacation mode when he's home with us. We want to relax. We want to spend time together as a family. We want to be spontaneous. So we are switching from having a more custom and flexible year schedule where I decide when we take time off and I decide on these 6-week terms, to now I'm going to end up needing to mimic what the public school schedule is for the year a lot more than I would have imagined that we ever would have. The second big life change is, as some of you may know, I am expecting baby number 4. She is due at the beginning of April. I found out I was expecting at the start of this homeschool year. So I had already made our plan for the year as far as when we were taking breaks. And then I found out that I was expecting. So in the original schedule that I had made for this school year, I think we only had 1 week off or maybe like half a week off in April. But for the most part, we were planning on schooling through April. Since baby girl is going to be joining us, I know myself, I know my limitations. In that early postpartum period, I'm usually a hot mess. My hormones are all over the place. I'm weepy. I'm exhausted. I'm sleep deprived. I'm sore. Usually, those first few weeks of starting to breastfeed are extremely challenging and painful for me. They have been every single time. And I'm just not the kind of person that functions well emotionally and mentally when I'm not getting a lot of sleep. I know a lot of people can just blaze through that period, and the lack of sleep is not hugely detrimental in their day-to-day life. They're still able to sort of function and carry on with their responsibilities. I am not that person. I know this about myself because this is my 4th baby. I've talked to so many homeschool moms about homeschooling with a newborn. I had a lot of questions with my last daughter, who's now 18 months. Most of them said, "Oh, homeschooling with a newborn is so easy. Like, you just cuddle on the couch with your baby and you can read all of your books with your older kids and like do all of your lessons, and the newborn will mostly sleep through all of it." I do agree that newborns themselves are pretty easy. I mean, I hate to say that newborns are easy because I don't want to alienate any moms or new moms, especially who are really struggling with that transitional time. There are definite challenges, but I feel like most of the challenges are with us rather than with the new baby, if that makes sense. Newborns have very basic needs. You feed them, you change them, they sleep, they're very cuddly, they're very delicious. I absolutely love the newborn stage. It's one of my favorite stages as a mom. I just want to be realistic. I want to give myself that grace and know that it is what it is. It's going to be a few weeks of really terrible sleep deprivation, of my emotions going all over the place. Because of that, I have reconfigured our schedule for the year. I've sort of taken account of where we are with our various curricula components, and I have just done some reconfiguring to best accommodate taking all of April, for the most part, off of homeschooling. So we will have 1 full week off with my husband for his spring break in March. We already have plans for that week to do some stuff with family and to go on a little getaway trip. And then I'm going to try to push us really hard for the last 2 weeks of March to get quite a bit done so that I can really rest and focus on birth and recovery and bonding with baby throughout the entire month of April. So the way that I am planning on taking most of April off is I'm going to be dropping as much as I possibly can from our schedule. So I'm going to be cutting out Spanish for April completely. That is a very teacher intensive thing that I already struggle with finding the time and energy to do. So I already know, like, that's on the chopping block for April. That's fine. We can come back to Spanish in May or June or next year. The other thing that I'm going to cut completely for April is science. It's actually working out really nicely. We are on week 24 with Bookshark Science. It is a 36-week program, so we're already at the tail end of it. However, the last couple of weeks on the schedule, you're focusing on botany. My kids have already studied botany really in depth. That was basically our entire science curriculum for last year, was just botany. So I don't really feel guilty skipping the botany portion of level C with Bookshark Science. at least right now in this season of life. We can always come back to it. We can do it over the summer if we want. But if I skip it now, then I can take science off of our plate for all of April, probably all of May, until whenever I decide to pick it back up and come back to it. And that just feels like the right choice. So we will wrap up our zoology portion of Book Shark Science Level C. We're going to be finishing that in March, and then that's it. Like, I'm basically just calling it for the year with science. That will free up quite a bit of time and planning effort on my part. So I feel really good about that. I'm also just not going to stress about formal art study or poetry or any of those sort of extra enrichment pieces. They will be there when we are ready for them, but I am just going to let them go for now. So what does that leave? Well, it will leave us with our core work. So math and language arts. I would like to see my kids keep some sort of momentum with math and language arts. I plan on relying on our independent work components as much as I need to. So workbooks, my kids can do workbooks really well, mostly on their own, and computer work. So they have typing lessons. They have Adapted Mind, which is sort of a learning website that incorporates all of the school subjects. I personally wouldn't call it a full curriculum. I would not use it as a full curriculum, but it is nice to just sort of keep some of their skills sharpened and keep them doing something educational that they enjoy and that they can do independently. That's the key, really. And I also plan on continuing to do our family read alouds because that is something that's very simple that I can do on the couch. In fact, I really feel like it might be the best time for us to get a lot of read aloud time in as a family, just cuddling on the couch with the new baby. My plan is to really try to put my focus there, because we're a little behind with our read alouds for the year anyway. So if we have extra time where we're just on the couch snuggling, that will be perfect for us to do a lot of reading together and maybe even catch up on some of our literature picks for the year. I will still need to be involved in their math lessons to an extent, but I definitely think I can manage that. They are both sort of on the downward slope with their individual levels for math. I also know that math is one of the things that my husband can jump in and easily assist with if I need him to. So I'm not super worried about math. I'm not going to stress about language arts because they have several workbook components they can do independently. They'll continue with reading. They're both doing really well with all of the moving parts for language arts. So if we happen to skip a few things or sort of slow down in some areas, it'll be fine. Now, there is one bigger thing that we will still hopefully be doing for all of April and May and really throughout the summer, and that is History Quest. We had a later start with History Quest because at the beginning of the school year, we were still finishing up ancient times. So by the time we started with middle times, we were already well into October. And so I have History Quest scheduled out all the way through June for us to wrap and finish all of middle times. It will not be the end of the world if we fall a little bit behind and we need to carry it through to July or beyond. I don't have anything scheduled for July. I had already planned on having July as basically our summer break, just that 1 month before we start jumping into the new school year in August. However, I would really like to stick to my schedule for History Quest and finish it by June. If all goes well, that is definitely a priority for me. So that would mean continuing our history lessons through April, really not slowing down or taking any time off with History Quest at all. The foundation of History Quest is also the reader, the chapter book that you're reading aloud together. So that lends itself to snuggly reading time on the couch with the baby. It feels very doable. All in all, I just feel like this is a good plan. I feel really confident and comfortable with it. I was freaking out for a minute, but now I feel like it's all going to be okay. I knew it was all going to be okay, but I tend to freak out. I mean, that's honest. And then for the next school year, it really looks like we are going to be having a public school schedule for our homeschool year. And it's going to be a challenge for me to wrap my head around that. It's going to take some getting used to. I need to like plot all of that out and see what that's actually going to look like and whether or not I need to add in some additional days off or weeks off to prevent us from getting burnt out. And typically, I start that planning process for the following year around June or July so that we're ready to start in August. So I'm sure I'll be sharing more about that around that time. I'd love to hear from y'all. What year schedule works best with your family? What have you found really meshes well with everybody? Or are you still in the process of trying to figure that out? Are you like me about to make some changes and try something new for the upcoming school year or the remainder of this school year? Let's chat about it down below in the comments. As always, thank you so much for spending some of your valuable time with me. Every thumbs up, every comment, every share, every interaction with y'all, it really brings me so much joy, and I'm so thankful for each of you. I will see y'all in the next video. Bye for now.